It was supposed to be just another quiet afternoon in the small town of Brookville, where everyone knew everyone and stories traveled faster than the morning train. The Kennedy Diner, a cozy corner cafe, told the copyright with the smell of fresh bread and sizzling bacon drifting down Main Street. It had long been the beating heart of the community. But on that particular Tuesday, something extraordinary unfolded inside those familiar walls. It began with the man in a faded baseball cap walking through the front door and no one realizing that the man was John Kennedy, the very owner of the diner itself. Job had built the diner 20 years ago with his late father, Thomas. It wasn't just a business, it was his father's dream, a place where hard work met heart, and strangers became family over a cup of hot coffee. But as time went on, success grew, and John found himself running multiple diners across the state. The Kennedy Diner was now just one branch among many. The warmth remained, but John had drifted away, spending more time in corporate meetings than in the kitchen that had once felt like home. That day, however, he decided to return, not as the boss, but as a customer. Wearing a simple jacket and a cap pulled low, John wanted to see how his staff treated people when they didn't know the owner was watching. He slipped onto line, blending with the lunchtime crowd. The place looked the same, the same red leather booths, the same checkered floors. But he noticed something different. The smiles weren't as bright, the laughter didn't reach the corners of the room. Something was missing. He reached the counter, where two young cashiers were chatting between orders, Sophie and Liam. They couldn't have been older than 22. Their hands moved fast, taking orders, bagging sandwiches, giving change. They worked with precision, but their eyes looked tired. As John placed his order for a simple turkey sandwich on rye, he caught fragments of their conversation. "I don't know how much longer I can keep this up," Sophie said quietly, her voice trembling just enough for John to notice. "Rent went up again, and Mom's medicine costs more than my paycheck. I thought working full-time here would help." But a broken bar, her voice trailed off as she forced a smile for the next customer. Liam sighed. "Yeah, I heard John Kennedy's some big-shot businessman now. Probably doesn't even remember this place started as a family diner. Guess we're just numbers on a payroll now." John froze. The sandwich in his hand suddenly felt heavier. He hadn't expected to hear his own name spoken like that, with disappointment instead of respect. He looked at Sophie's worn apron, the tired lines around Liam's eyes. These were his people, his employees, his responsibility, and somehow, he'd become a stranger to them. He sat in the corner booth, watching quietly. The lunch rush came and went. Sophie stayed late, wiping tables long after customers had left. When the manager stepped out, she slipped the sandwich into a paper bag and wrote on it, "For Mrs. B. A chicken and soup, no charge." She placed it near the door, where an elderly woman often came by for leftovers. John felt a lump rise in his throat. She wasn't stealing, she was caring. That night, after the diner closed, John revealed himself. He stepped out of the booth and said softly, "Sophie, Liam, could I talk to you both for a moment?" The two froze, eyes widening as they recognized the man behind the disguise. "I didn't come here as your boss," John said, his voice steady but full of emotion. "I came here to remember what this place was built on, and you reminded me." Sophie stammered. "Mr. Kennedy, we didn't mean a..." "No," John interrupted gently. "You were honest, and you were right." He took a deep breath. "This diner was supposed to be a family. Somewhere along the line, I let it become just another business. But no more." The next morning, every employee received a letter from John. Inside, it read, "You are the heart of Kennedy Diner. Starting today, every full-time worker will receive health benefits, wage adjustments, and paid family leave." This isn't charity, it's respect. Word spread like wildfire through Brookville. Customers returned in droves, not for the sandwiches, but for what the diner now represented: compassion, loyalty, and a reminder that behind every business are human hearts beating to survive. Sophie's mother got her medication. Liam went back to school part-time, supported by a flexible schedule. And John Kennedy? He returned to the diner every week, not as a boss behind an office door, but as a man who rolled up his sleeves and flipped pancakes beside his team. Months later, when a reporter asked him what changed, John simply smiled and said, "I came in for a sandwich, a broken barbet." I left with a lesson. Sometimes, success isn't about how much you build, it's about how much you care. The Kennedy Diner became a local legend, not because of its food, but because of its story. A story of rediscovery, humility, and a powerful reminder that even in the busiest of lives, the smallest acts of kindness can bring us back home. And every time someone new walks through those doors, the staff still tell the tale of the day John Kennedy bought a sandwich at his own diner, and how one overheard conversation changed everything.